Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane. One thing that we can promise, or we try to promise, is that our conversation will be less than fascinating, relaxing, if you will, so that you can just feel free to, drift off. Thank you for joining us. We hope you will listen and sleep. Follow us at Listen and Sleep, and feel free to leave a comment or rate us, or both. I have the distinct pleasure of having Alexandra Cote to this episode. Welcome, Alexandra.
Hello.
And you are a realtor and property coach and a good friend of Nidhi's.
Yes.
So before we go into any relationship, how you know Nidhi, let's talk about being a property coach, because I find that fascinating. What exactly is that?
Property coach doesn't have too much of a definition beyond what I've given it, because as far as I know, I'm the only person that's doing it right now.
Well, there you go. So an exclusive here. Is this the first podcast you're on?
It's not actually.
Oh, I thought we had an exclusive deal here. But welcome. I'm happy to have you. You're our first property coach. So tell us about being a property coach. What is that?
Sure. My training formally is as a professional life coach, and while I was in graduate school, I had a part-time job at a real estate brokerage, and I was always a huge fan of all of the property shows that you see on HGTV and things like that. And it was a roommate actually who suggested, you talk about real estate a lot. Mm-hmm. Maybe you should consider looking into it, and if you're just looking for part-time work, why don't you try and work at a real estate brokerage? And I was really, really fortunate in that the day that I went online to look for part-time work, there was a posting for the brokerage that was run by the host of my favorite show.
Oh, really?
On HGTV, yeah. It's called Property Virgins.
Yes.
With Sandra Renamato.
Of course, I know that show very well.
Yeah. So it was very exciting for me. I applied for the position. The posting was only up for an hour.
Wow.
Because they had so many applicants, they had to take it down. And so I feel it was sort of destined.
Sure.
And so while I was in graduate school for professional coaching, I was working first as an administrator and then as sort of office manager.
So
for
you
the
got
brokerage.
you were one of the people that got selected?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I got the position. And after about 6 months or so of working there, Sandra, my broker, she took me out and she said, I think you need to get into real estate.
Wow.
And it was kind of like my real estate superhero telling me that I was destined.
So she was like your real estate coach.
She was.
Oh, great.
Yeah, in a way. So I really enjoy coaching the sort of the tenet of it. There's a bit of a misconception around professional coaching.
Okay. Just
because the industry is a little bit newer. It's not as regulated as some of the other helping professions like counseling or psychotherapy. So you can go online and get a quote-unquote life coaching certificate after an 8-hour online course. But this was a rigorous sort of 2-year training program at a brick-and-mortar institution.
Wow.
And so true life coaching or life coaching in the professional sense of the word, there's actually no advice that's given. You don't give any advice as a professional coach. It's all about being there to support your client, to help them uncover what their goals are, mm-hmm. and to help them explore what's in the way, also what's helping them, and help them develop their own plan about how they want to achieve those goals.
Would you say it's more Socratic versus, telling someone what you think they should do? You would uncover it by asking questions?
Absolutely. Yeah. Most of coaching is asking questions.
Okay.
And listening intently, right. And mirroring back. And so helping people uncover at their own pace and in their own words what they want to do and what might be in the way of that.
So you studied this for 2 years in a rigorous course, and now you've, correct me if I'm wrong, have translated into your other passion, which is real estate.
Yeah.
And that brought you to become, as far as we know, the first property coach out there.
Yes.
So tell me.
I'm hoping to hold that title.
I love it. We need to get you like a championship belt that says that you can wear when you're doing these property coach sessions.
That would be fun.
So what if I came to you and I was like, I need a property coach?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it, I want to buy a place? Will you coach me through it? How does it work?
Mm-hmm. So the way that I meld them, because coaching in itself is a very structured practice. It's certainly something that you don't do without consent, and you want to create a safe space to do it. So it's not like I just start coaching people out of the blue. It's really about asking permission. If I sense that there's something that might be up, saying, you know, we've looked at 40 houses,
right?
And the attention, the details that you're picking out, you know, maybe aren't as significant as maybe there's an opportunity to uncover something deeper here.
Right.
And also when I'm starting with new clients, I work a lot with first-time home buyers. And it's so overwhelming,
Sure.
especially in the city that we're in now, Toronto. It's very, very competitive.
And expensive. It's one of the, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the most expensive real estate markets out there in North America. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah. Toronto and Vancouver. Vancouver's still more expensive than we are, but it's six of one, half a dozen of the other.
So you could understand how someone who's not in the market would feel really out of sorts, you know, anxious and whatnot.
Definitely, and just not quite sure what's the best option. You know, like, should I continue renting and save more of a down payment? Mm-hmm. You know, do I want to wait till I can be in the neighborhood I want to be in, or is it worth sacrificing being in my number 2 neighborhood until I can afford my number 1?
Right.
So sitting down before you even go out and just talking through all of that and finding out what they're hoping to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, they get people talk at them. You know, they've got family members with opinions, they've got dogs with opinions. Everyone's got an opinion about the market. And they hear it on the news so much.
And from other people who've had bad experiences and good experiences. I know when I was going to purchase a home, people were saying things like, make sure you do this, make sure that this person does that, don't get burnt like me. So it can be very, like, you know.
Definitely. And it's for most people, it's the largest purchase of their life. Right. So I don't think it should be something that's taken lightly. I think it's good to honor that and everything that comes along with it. And I sort of say, you know, it's definitely a financial investment,
right? And
it needs to make sense from a financial point of view for you, but it's just as much of an emotional investment. This is your home,
right?
And so, I mean, for me, that's where I find the value and the joy in it is feeling like, you know, bringing two things together that were meant to be, and you know, one of them is the property and the other is the person or the family, and feeling like just everything fits. It's a more holistic experience.
What's a key or a cornerstone that you notice when you're coaching with regards to property that you want to uncover by your client, from your client?
I think first of all, the goal, like what's driving this desire.
Okay.
Is it because everyone is telling you to? Is it because it's a dream that you've had? But also, one of the most important questions to ask is, who else is involved in this decision-making process? Because the first answer you might be getting is, oh, it's me, it's my choice, I'm buying on my own, you know, but then you hear they come back after seeing something, they might really love it, and then you talk to them next day and their opinion has changed.
Oh.
Who else is involved?
Right.
Who else is contributing to this? And is that a voice that you want to be contributing? If so, can we integrate it into the process so it feels more holistic for you? Or is that a voice that you want to disconnect from, that you don't want to be part of the decision-making process?
Wow. That's fascinating. Alexandra, it sounds to me like, in this case, it's not about the sale. It's about making sure your client is ultimately truly satisfied with the home they're purchasing versus buying property. Does that make sense?
100%. one of the names that we go by is sales representative, and a lot of the training around the real estate industry is really sales heavy.
Right.
And when I was starting out, I just, on the recommendation of my broker, went to all of these different training sessions to see just what was out there, and to help get me structured. And I did not jive with any of them.
Okay.
They were so sales heavy, and for me, I never viewed real estate as sales, because I'm not pushing a particular product.
Right.
Right? It's not like a certain brand. It's about finding the best fit. And a lot of the techniques like door knocking and cold calling, I mean, those work for some people.
Sure.
And that's the kind of relationship that they want to have with their clients. Or, it's just all types. It wasn't until I found a book called Sell with Soul, and it was kind of like an introvert's guide to being a real estate agent. And
Okay.
it wasn't until I read that I went, okay, all right, I don't have to be a salesperson. I can just be myself. I can slowly carve my own approach and build my business in a way that I'm proud, because I know that I personally wouldn't want anyone knocking on my door. And if someone did, that would dissuade me from doing business with
Sure.
them. So why would I try and do that? And just being okay, coaching myself a little bit to be like, I don't have to be like a quote unquote top agent,
Right.
super hardcore selling. For me, it's all about the relationship.
So how does one find you?
They tap their shoes 3 times.
Oh, I love
and they
that
say,
method,
no. I want to go home.
Because I think there's a lot of value to have someone who knows the market, knows the industry, but who's also a property coach, in particular if you're a little bit skittish or worried.
Yeah.
You need that person to be like in your corner in a way that's more than just, I'm going to sell you a place.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds to me like being a property coach, you really want the best for your client, but you also want to make the experience a positive one.
100%. Yeah, and it's so exciting. I feel such, without sounding too hokey, I feel really privileged to be along for that journey. It's such a high when my clients finally find that home and they click and it's just magic.
Oh.
And so I really value that. That's the best part of the job for me.
Now, our listeners can follow you on Twitter at Alexandra Cote. So it's ALEXANDRCOTE. None to worry if you didn't get that, because it'll be in our show notes. Did I get that wrong? Okay.
I forgot the A at the end of Alexandra.
Oh, so
that's
all right.
Okay.
So you know what? I'll put it on the show notes. Alexandra Cote, spelled C-O-T-E, is how you spell Cote. As well, and I'm going to try not to mess this one up. They can go to torontopropertycoach.com.
Yes, sir.
And that's your website, and that's one way they can connect with you.
Yes.
Has there ever been an unusual sort of requirement by one of your clients that they're like, I need a space where my snakes will be really comfortable, or something like that you're able to reveal?
That's a fun question.
Sure.
Yeah, I can think of one. I worked with them for a while, and didn't actually end up finding them something because their relationship sort of fell apart during the
I'm
process.
sorry to hear that.
That's okay, that happens.
Really?
Sometimes, yes, you'd be surprised. And it's, but anyway, that's kind of beside the point. What they were looking for was a condo downtown that did not have sliding glass doors.
Oh.
But was modern.
Right.
It was almost impossible
Sure.
to find. I didn't realize until I started going on to look for them. Every condo has a sliding glass door, even if it doesn't have a balcony. Usually
Really?
it has a Juliet balcony.
Sure.
Oh, I forgot. They also wanted a balcony.
But without
So
a sliding
it
glass.
needed to be a door that opened.
Like a French door? Or just
like a normal door instead
Oh.
of the sliding plate glass doors.
Okay.
They were looking for a door that opened and closed. And I was trying to uncover a little bit what was behind that.
Sure.
And it somewhat was a fear of sleepwalking
Oh.
out onto the balcony.
Right.
But there was something else that I didn't quite get to uncover it just because
it fell through or whatever.
It fell through.
Right.
But they also wanted to be between the 4th and 8th floors only. That was the most specific, and part of it was sort of me coming back and saying, I've looked, and what you're asking for, it doesn't exist in the areas that right now there's nothing available. So is there anything here that is maybe less important? Or if we go to an older building, a lot of the older buildings do have those doors that open onto balconies, but they didn't want to consider that. So that was particular.
We live in a culture obsessed with dieting, weight loss, and exercise. And that can make eating disorder behaviors easy to miss. But the reality is, eating disorders are serious mental illnesses that take a major toll on your health and your life. But recovery is possible. Eating disorders are more common than you might think. Chances are you know someone who is struggling with one. Or maybe you're struggling yourself. If you're concerned about an eating disorder in yourself or a loved one, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
With almost 500,000 customers and over $1 trillion of secure payments, Bill isn't new to intelligent finance. It's the proven way to simplify bill pay and maximize cash flow. Want to learn more? Visit Bill.com/proven for a special offer.
We need to keep kids safe online, but some special interests are sending policymakers in the wrong direction, pushing the so-called App Store Accountability Act, demanding government ID from all users just to download an app, replacing parents' judgment with government mandates. It doesn't even stand up in court. A better bipartisan bill, the Parents Over Platforms Act, would put parents in the driver's seat, empowering parents and businesses to keep kids safe without drowning all of us in red tape. Tell Congress to get it done right and put parents over platforms.
Paid for by ACT, the App Association.
I've had clients that have asked that places not be haunted.
Well, for some people that's very important. I prefer to have a haunted place that I can, be kept up at night. No, I could see how for some people that. And has your experience ever been such that it's like, this place doesn't feel like really?
Oh yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Tell me more.
Oh, there are so many creepy properties.
Sure.
On the market, and sometimes they look totally fine, but something's just wrong.
The energy's different.
The energy's different, and it's interesting because I'd say 9 times out of 10, my clients pick up on it as well.
Really?
Like I consider myself a bit on the intuitive side. I'm very sensitive to energies, and I think my clients pick up on that as well, so they kind of start asking me.
Right.
Because they see the way I react in certain homes, but most of the time they feel it too. And that's one thing that I do bring attention to, whereas a lot of people maybe wouldn't talk about that because it's a bit taboo.
Sure. But
someplace it might be perfect on paper, but just feels wrong. Something feels not like home.
Is the converse true too? Like, do you sometimes enter in a home and think the energy here is fabulous?
Yeah.
And maybe you have a client who you wouldn't necessarily think on paper that they would gravitate to that space, and then all of a sudden the energy brings them.
If it's sometimes I feel like I'm guided sometimes, because sometimes I'll just throw properties in to the mix and kind of surprise them and be like, I know this wasn't on your list, but I think you need to see this place, and it works sometimes.
A wild card?
Yeah,
Do you throw in a wild card?
I like to throw in some wild cards.
You helped Nidhi find this place.
I did.
What a great space it is too.
I think so.
What was the clincher with regards to this place and Nidhi?
Well, if I'm being completely honest, it's proximity to me, because I live across the street.
Well, there you go. A convenient location.
Yeah, and this place is interesting. It was a bit of a struggle. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy decision.
How so?
Well, I don't know how much you're comfortable.
Oh, she's completely
Is
comfortable.
she comfortable for
She's
me
behind
discussing?
me.
Okay, because client confidentiality is important.
Trust me, I'll act as her counsel, and I say, just go reveal all the dirt on Nidhi and her home.
Okay, well, you've got the edit button,
Perfect.
so I'll trust that. This is a place, and this is my experience anyway, that doesn't, when you walk into it, it didn't feel like home. It didn't have that magical, it actually felt very cold.
Sure.
And stale.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of energy that was here was the kind of energy that was screaming, like, live in me, and I have potential, and, you know, I want to work with you. It wasn't a negative energy, it was just stale. But we had a lot of hiccups with the offer process, with the property management that was involved.
And so how do you coach someone who is having issues like that? Because I would imagine your client would feel some sort of anxiety and having never had that sort of experience. How does the property coach, Alexandra, work that out?
I think I'm reflecting back on how I handled it now.
Or anyone who's in that sort of situation where it's like becoming challenging, but you can see the light that could be at the end of the tunnel, but they can't.
Yeah, I think it's about being honest. I think I was very honest with Nidhi. I didn't say, oh, this is normal, this happens all the time, don't worry about it. I was saying,
because that can
feel very abnormal, and this is not something I've experienced before, and like, I'm on your side, I'm advocating for you, I hear your concerns, and I wrote some strongly worded emails on her behalf. And just not trying to gloss it over, like it's not a big deal, because it's our home, and it was a difficult transition, and it was almost like the universe was working against us on this one, but we both had the fightness, I think, to make it happen. Yeah, it just felt right even though it was wrong.
And what's the reward you get, besides a financial reward in your career, but what's the reward you get from connecting a person with a property that you think is perfect for them?
It's a warm and fuzzy reward.
It's
so emotional for me, and
is it emotional
really,
for you? Like you would think somebody who does this and does sale after sale after sale would kind of be like, yeah, that's my job, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's not like every transaction I've done has been warm and fuzzy and wonderful. There's some people, they're not looking for a coach, they're just looking for a realtor.
Sure.
And they're just concerned about numbers and facts and efficiency, and I'm happy to fill that role as well, because it's just about providing what they need to feel supported, right? And so if not going in, you know, I'd say probably only a third or so of my clients do I actually really get into the coaching with.
Okay.
However, I'm still very coach-like, just in the way that I am.
A little added bonus, whether or not you wanna.
And it's just about sort of touching base with them and seeing what they need, and sometimes it's very transactional, and that's okay too, because it's what they wanted and what they need. So as long as I feel like I was able to support them and provide what they needed to get out of the experience, then I feel good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider teaching a property coaching course for other people in your field? Because I would think that would be really something sought after, because the market is so competitive with real estate agents. This, I would think, gives you a little bit of an edge, or it gives you a little sort of, look, I'm more than just someone who wants to make a sale. Certainly now that I know that there's a property coach, I would want to have someone who can do both for me.
There might be interest. I would hope that there is. I think it's not an industry traditionally that attracts that kind of person, but I meet so many wonderful people out there when I'm working with other realtors, because that's a big part of it too, is you've got to be able to sometimes coach the other realtor.
Oh, really? So you act like a double coach in this case.
Sometimes it's a sneak attack.
Sure.
And just being able to build that rapport with the other realtor as well, to work together to get the deal, because it is competitive, and so you want to be someone that they want to work with.
Sure.
I'd hope that there's a demand for more. Like, that'd be great if people contact me and they say, how do I want to bring coaching to my clients, that's awesome. Definitely recommend it. I think real estate agents, they're in the top 10 least trusted professions.
Really?
And so it's funny because when I introduced myself, I was like, I'm a real estate agent. I embrace myself for it. But that's changing too. And I think, sometimes I introduce myself and people are like, oh, I already have a house. Like before they even tell me their name, they're sort of stating like, I don't want to be sold right now. I don't want a hard sell. And I'm kind of, that's totally fine. I was just going to ask you how that hors d'oeuvre was. I'm not here to, I'm not salesy.
Sure.
I don't think. Maybe Nithya disagrees, but.
Let me ask you this. So if we have a listener who's looking to buy a home and they're looking for a real estate agent, what would you coach them to look for in a real estate agent?
Good question. I really think it's important that they sit down with their realtor and have a conversation, almost like an interview, because it's important. Like the relationship that you're going to be having is a serious one.
Sure.
Involves and you need to feel comfortable. It's good to speak with 2 or 3 different people. Ask for referrals.
So don't go with the first person.
Unless you really click with the first person. But I always encourage people to meet with me in my office, have a conversation, let me explain a little bit what I'm about.
Sure.
And then, let them follow up the next day and see if they have any questions. I don't ask them to sign anything on the spot.
Right.
Sometimes they're totally happy to, they just offer it to, but I think just creating that trust, building that it's a two-way street and feeling like, this is someone that fits your style and you feel that you're going to get the support you need, whether it's not having someone who's coachy and talks about emotions and is just talking about numbers. If that's what you're looking for, I might not be the best person for you.
Fair enough.
Because hugs are important, I believe. But, I would say talk to a few. Talk to a few. Don't feel pressured to make a decision right away. A lot of people will try to close the deal. And maybe that's what you want. Maybe that's what you want is efficiency and something like that. But,
sure. But do your sort of due diligence and go and see a couple of people, because I feel like you've hit something with me anyways, is you'll know if that first person was right for you after seeing the second or third person.
That's true.
Alexandra, you're a realtor and a property coach, and really this episode I just talked about your property coaching, so I would like to invite you, because I have a bunch of things I want to ask you with regards to you being a realtor and the housing market, so I'd love to have you on another episode if you're cool with that.
It would be my pleasure.
Well, if our listeners want to get in contact with you, they can find you at torontopropertycoaches.com, or did I get that wrong? I'm just like, you know what, Alexandra, I'm going to let you tell us how they can find you.
They can find me at torontopropertycoach.com or at Alexandra Cote on Twitter, or at Toronto Property Coach on Instagram.
There you go. So we'll have all those things listed in our show notes, so people can sort of look and click from there. If somebody wants to use you as a property coach who isn't based in Toronto, is that possible too?
I'm only licensed to help buy or sell properties in sort of Toronto and the Greater Toronto area, but
if they want coaching,
I could, totally. I'd be happy to do that, or I can help connect them with someone maybe in their area. I do sort of networked with people all over the place. So
fantastic, Alexandra. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks for having me.
Episode, and as always, we're recording from Toronto. Not as always, I should say. As always, we are produced by Drumcast Productions, and this episode was recorded in Toronto, Canada.